Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and I hope you're all doing well. Just going to have a quick brew. Today we're going through 10 British horror films that I think are great that you may not have seen. You probably have, but I'm still going to do it anyway because there might be a gem or two in here that you haven't seen or maybe you've forgotten about that you think, oh, I'm going to give that a look in. So I'm going to go through sort of 10. It's not a top 10 like best to worst or anything like that. It's just pretty much 10 films that I think are really, really cool. Cheers. And of course, when I do these sort of things, I always have a brew on the go, don't I? Because I like to try and make it a bit more, not so homely, but, you know, like you're having a chinwag with your mate, if you like. So here we go. Let's start with one that's based in Yorkshire, and it's called Inbred. This is based on like this coach of like I think kids and stuff that are going on a trip, and it breaks down and it come across this small little Yorkshire village, not unlike where I'm from, and it's full of sort of like these crazy folk that live there, and they seem to get great pleasure at torturing and doing sort of like violent tortury sort of games with outsiders, and unfortunately this coach load have landed upon this environment. It says on here the best British horror film in years, makes the Texas Chainsaw Massacre look like a picnic. I think that's a little bit of exaggeration, but it does have Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe with it, just because of like the sort of the way that the villages are. They're sort of so obscure and so eccentric. Got crazy farmers and that stuff like that, and it's a real gore fest. So if you like a gory film, that one's really gory. I do recommend that. Next one up is a DVD that I've got. I've not seen this on Blu-ray or anything, and it's called Isolation. This is actually based in Ireland, but it's a British film, and it stars Sean Harris, one of my favourite actors, and it's based about this sort of creature, which is like based around like a cow in a farm, and it's this crazy sort of creature that sort of like gives the cow sort of gives birth to, and it's Sean Harris and his girlfriend are like on the caravan outside the farm. And the farmer doesn't like him at the beginning because he doesn't want him on their land, but he comes to their aid, and in the end he likes him, and they sort of try and work together about this creature. It's a really good sort of creature feature film. And it says on the front, a grim, gruesome and glorious gross horror. That's pretty much sums that up. It is very gory and it is very gross. Although it's only a 15, it's still quite a bit of an uncomfortable watch. It's really cool. Again, I've only ever seen this on Lionsgate DVD. I've never seen this actually get a Blu-ray release. It's one of those films that seems to have gone by and sort of forgotten about. Maybe it's something I need to review on my channel, so I can give you guys a bit of an insight to the film to see if it's your cup of tea. And talking about cup of tea, cheers. Let's have another drink. Right, next one up is a British slasher, which is quite hard to come by. I believe I may have reviewed this on my channel. I can't remember, but it's called F. F for failed. This is basically based in a school, a comprehensive school in the UK, and there's this kid that's been expelled, and he's because he's just like horrible, and he's just like a violent sort of kid, and his school results have been like Fs and stuff like this, and it's about a bit of a school invasion. We've got the teachers and a few pupils, sort of like late in the evening, sort of like late afternoon, evening time, that are maybe in detention or doing other stuff, or teachers doing marking, and they're being stalked by a killer or killers in this film, and it's a really cool slasher film. Lots of sort of jump scares, lots of sort of well-known British actors in it, which you'll recognise when you sort of watch it. It's a really cool. It says a hoodie thriller for proper scares, a genuinely chilling British horror, and that's pretty much what I would say it is. It's a really cool film. Again, one of those films that's really gone under the radar, and I don't know why, because it's really, really cool, and it plays out really well. It's just as good as any American slasher. except more relatable to people in UK, because the environments are very UK. But it's a very cool, mean sort of slasher film. Definitely worth checking out, called F. Next one's a bit of sort of a fun one, really, with a sort of an anthology of films. And it stars quite a big cast, if I remember right. Yeah, Paul Whitehouse is in it, and Martin Freeman and people like that. And it's called Ghost Stories. And that's pretty much what it is on the tent. It gives you like different sort of stories, like an anthology of these sort of ghostly events that happen. And again, this is another strong, violent film. These British films I tend to find are a lot more sort of violent and disturbing than the our American friends films. They're a bit more predictable and sort of thing. Well, there are the obviously the different ones. You've got Eli Roth and things like that will go a bit to the extreme side. But a lot of our American friends ones are a bit more predictable, and these ones aren't, and they have a bit more of a eccentric weirdness about it. And this is no different. This is a really cool film. If you get a chance to pick it up, I think you can pick this up dirt cheap in somewhere like CEX if you get it second hand. I've had this since it came out, and it's a really, really cool film. And it's great for a British sort of film as well. It says the best British horror for years. And it is a good film. I don't know if I'll go as far as that, but it is a good film. Next up on DVD, again, because I've only seen it on DVD, it's another film with my main man in it, Sean Harris. No, it's not Creep. It's See No Evil, The Moors Murderers. Now, this is a true story film, so it's more of a crime film. But I've put it under the horror because it was horrible murders in the year in the UK by Maura Hindley, and it is pretty much based on Maura Hindley and Ian Brady, and Sean Harris plays Ian Brady, and it's about the Moors killings that happened around the Manchester sort of area and the Yorkshire area. But it's played out horrifically horrifically humanized in this film. So it's very, very human, and being a very true story, it's relatable, and these events actually sort of happened. And it can be a difficult watch. This is actually a mini series, I believe. I think it's like 2 or 3 episodes. But you put it together as a movie, so that's why I've put it in there, because I think, again, a lot of people might not have seen it because it was a TV-based sort of thing on ITV. But it is quite a horrific sort of horrifying watch when you know it's a true crime, and there's nothing more terrifying than true crime. Really, I class serial killer films as horror films and things like this, and these were prolific serial killers here in the UK. So that's worth checking out, See No Evil, if you get a chance. Now this is another sort of fun creature feature, alien creature feature, that again I don't see anybody talking about it, and it's called Attack on the Block. Now this is based in a tower block, I believe, in London, and it's based on this group of youths, sort of like, you know, your typical, I'm trying to say slang words, but chavvy sort of youths of that sort of area that are generally up to no good. And it's them with this alien creature in this tower block, and a fight for survival. And they have other neighbours and stuff that they try to help, and things like this, and all this kind of thing goes on. It's a cool, fun watch. The creature looks a little bit daft, because it's sort of like, it's really, really dark with like bright, luminous sort of blue teeth, which is a bit strange. The creature's a bit strange, but it plays out all right, and it's a real good, fun sort of watch. And it's good to see a creature feature based here in the UK, and it's relatable, I said, because it's based in now modern times, in like a tower block with our sort of youth of today. So it's definitely worth checking out, and it does have a good bit of sense of humour in it. It says inner city versus outer space. That sort of sums that up really well, because the creature is from outer space. So it's really, really cool, worth checking out if you want a fun popcorn movie. Attack on the Block, Attack the Block, or whatever it's called. Attack the Block, I think. Really cool. Going back to 1970s with the next one, with a sort of really cool Donald Pleasance one, and it's my favourite Donald Pleasance film, to be honest, and it's called Deathline, which is a really cool film. It's a British cannibal film based on the London Underground. It's sort of based like years ago. The background story of this story is years ago when they were building the underground, there were a lot of areas that never got sort of finished off because it collapsed, and you know, like the ground collapsed. So there are bits of the areas under the ground that have never ever been used. And there was one incident where the ground fault and it trapped a group of sort of like workers in there, and they survived a number of years, living on obviously rats and stuff like that, but also on themselves, eating each other, if you like. And this is now sort of like based in the 70s in the future, and there's still some living there, and they are feeding on commuters, passengers of the underground that gone disappearing. And Donald Pleasance plays like a detective trying to figure it out. We see a young woman and a young girl, I mean a young woman and a man, sort of witness this sort of thing happening. They report it to the police, and it's the investigation of that line, and one of the girls gets captured, and it's a really cool story, really good, and it's a really eerie 1970s British horror film. I absolutely love it. Really cool. This is a network edition of it. Mind the Doors, it says up there. Now, this is a restoration version by Network. Now, I know Network have no longer be, so this is probably out of print, but I still think you can pick this up reasonably online if you shop around for it, and even on CX. And if you're into old British horror films of the 70s, this has to be in your collection. And it's really cool to be set in like a London Underground environment where we see lots of things from the underground back in the 70s that when I watch, I feel, oh God, I remember that, because we lived just outside London, and we used to go into London as kids with our parents, and I see so many things, down to the little chocolate machines and all sorts of things like that, that the underground used to be like, and the lifts that used to take you up to ground level. Really, really cool film. Definitely worth checking it out. Definitely. And Donald Pleasance in it is absolutely fantastic. It's an amazing film. Really cool. This one I've talked about a lot on my channel. It's been in a lot of top 10s of mine because I love it, but I still want to give it a shout out in this video because I think it still needs a lot of love, and it's The Ritual, based on a group of British friends in the UK that normally go out together on like road trips, but one of their friends gets killed at a sort of corner shop supermarket robbery, and he gets killed there. So they've still decided to do this hike up in, I believe they're going to Sweden, and they're going to take his ashes there and stuff like that, and do like a ritually ceremony for him. But they come across in the woods a sort of a witchcraft kind of, not village, but people living there, and they worship a creature that lives within the woods, on sort of like a Swedish sort of folklore, and it's about their survival, and it's really, really cool. If you love any films, survival horror films, or anything like Descent, or 28 Days Later, or anything that's sort of like real survival horror films, Blair Witch, anything like that, you're going to love this film. Even The Witch, you'll probably enjoy this, and the creature is absolutely fantastic in it. It's really, really cool. It says by far the best British horror in years, and I will agree with that, and it still is to this day. They should have gone to Ibiza, it says on the back, but it's really, really cool. Please check this film out. It's incredible. The Ritual. Couple more left. We're going to go for a werewolf film now, starring Sean Pertwee, and it's called Howl. Yeah, you all thought I was going to say Dog Soldiers. This is called Howl, and it's based on a train again. It's about a train conductor and the train driver on the last sort of train of the night, and it sort of like gets stuck, or they have a problem on train, so it's happened and the train is stuck, and they're being pursued from the outside by a sort of a werewolf or a wolf or creature, and it's a fight for survival for the passengers that are on it and obviously the train crew. And it's a really cool, fun flick, very close to Creep and The Descent, that sort of thing. This is from the director of The Descent and The Woman in Black, and it's the greatest werewolf film made in Britain since The American Werewolf in London. And again, I can quite agree with that. It is a fantastic watch, fantastic popcorn movie. It's got Ed Spielberg, Sean Pertwee and Shane McDonald in the film. Really cool film. There is some bits of gore in it, not too bad, watchable by most folks. It is an 18, so it is, just be warned of that. But it is really cool, and it's very quite intense at sometimes, especially when the passengers and all that start falling out with each other and stuff like that. It's a really good film, really cool. I highly recommend it. Howl. So we're going to end this video with another sort of a road horror film, and it's called Hush. Again, I've spoken about this a number of times on my channel. It's about a young lad and girl. They're out in the car, they've gone to a service station at night, and she gets kidnapped and taken away in this truck, this lorry, and he's in pursuit of this lorry and whoever's driving it, and he's told the police, and the police think it's him or something, or there's like a big mix-up going on, and he chases this trolley, and in the back of the truck we find there's cages with other women in it and stuff like that. It's a really cool sort of film. It's a little bit different for a British horror film, but it's very tense, it's very dark, and it's very edgy, and it's a really cool watch, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat till the end of the film. Shout it out loud. Hush is the best British horror in years. They all say this, don't they? On there. But it is a really cool film. A tightly wound and terrifying thriller. Ratchets up the tension to fever pitch. Yeah, it's a very tense, on the edge of your seat watch, but it's a very, very cool film. Definitely worth checking. So there we go. There's 10 British films that I recommend that maybe you may have missed. So you may not have, but there might be one or two that you have. So they're worth checking out. So we do have Hush. We have Howl. We have The Amazing Ritual. We have The Incredible Deathline. We have the fun Attack on the Block. We have the true story of See No Evil, Hear No Evil, The Moors Murders. We have the anthology of ghost stories. The British slasher film, F. British / Irish creature feature, Isolation. And of course the British version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Inbreds. All worth a check out. And if you can't check them out, check out some of our horror channels. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Manvy Film, RS Design, Pizzoel, I'm Icelord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House, and The Maniac. And a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.